Hello everyone, and today I am doing a video on what's happening in, I could say the gaming community, but more of the FGC side of it all. Because as of late, there has been a lot of sexual assault and even hell, pedophilia accusations or allegations, I guess you could say, in the community, especially Smash. And I don't know, I felt like giving my opinion on what's happening. I don't know, I just felt like talking about what was happening within the gaming community, just like I did with just talking about my life and growing up, since I, in that one I was talking about graduating and whatnot. But yeah, it's been wild, it's been crazy. I think the one important thing to remember is to not touch the kids. Don't touch them. Don't fucking touch them. Don't look at them. Don't touch them. Don't talk to them. Don't do anything with them. It's too much of a fucking risk, especially because I feel, and someone please tell me I'm wrong about this, but I feel like kids some of them know what they're doing, some of them they don't. But this isn't a case with all of them. This is only like one of them. I felt like this was the case. But before I talk about one of the allegations, girls in school, don't talk to dudes older than you that you aren't supposed to be talking to. And I'm saying that from a standpoint of experience, because back in middle school, I knew and I'm gonna say one girl who actually dated a guy who was above the legal age, and that wasn't okay. Yet she would defend it. And I knew a lot of girls who would just talk to dudes older than them for some reason, and they would go out looking for these dudes to talk to, and it just doesn't make sense to me. So please, don't do that. Even though if the person didn't decide to stop it, then that's their fault, but you're putting yourself at risk by doing that. So please, just know better, please. And the reason why I kind of bring that up is because one of them, I believe his name is Captain Zach. By the way, I'm doing this kind of off the cuff. I'm not looking at any of the twit longers. I didn't make a script for this. It's just like my previous video where I just talk about how I feel and what I think. But one of the cases is, I believe his name is Captain Zach, where he had receipts for him and Nairo. I don't remember what kind of sexual interactions they had. I don't know if it was simple as, oral, or did they go as far as even full on, sex, I guess you could say. I'm trying to think of safe ways to say these. I could just say they straight up fucked, but I don't know. Something about me feels like I want to be safe, I guess. I don't know. But they did a lot together. But the thing is that, and I'm not defending Nairo at all when I'm saying any of this, but with Zach, you can clearly tell that he was proud of what he did, and that he seduced a dude who was clearly insecure about his sexuality and questioning of it. And he took advantage of that. And I feel like while he is the victim and Nairo should have knew better and should have cut that off, he should receive some sort of punishment for actively going and doing that. Because while people could say, oh, he's just a kid, he's 15, he doesn't know better. At 15, I would have known better. Okay, that's not a valid excuse for every mistake a kid makes. Some of these kids do know better. While they don't have the right to consent, they do know what they're doing. They know what they should and should not do. That's it, from my opinion, from me. Because just remember, even though I'm turning 18 in a couple of weeks, I am 17. And I knew better when I was 15, 16, 17. I knew better whenever I would make a mistake that, man, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. Or, I feel like I would have known better. And that was one thing that really bothers me, because while, yes, he is a victim, he still knows what he was doing there. And he clearly was proud of what he did. And I think he said he didn't want to be bribed anymore or something like that. But I don't know. It's just like, I feel like this dude is like a prodigy at preying and seducing people, because I believe he even did stuff with Ally. Now, I don't follow the Smash FGC like that, But out of all the FGCs, it's the only one where I can recognize and know the names from, maybe because of how much drama there is. But that's the one that I really know the names from and whatnot. And I felt like that one was really like both parties are in a way at fault here. Zach should have not done that. He initiated the whole thing. He should take some responsibility for what he did there. Another one, and the thing is, a lot of these people I kind of followed. Another one was Senpai. Thing is, I didn't follow her for that long, but last year, I'm gonna admit it, I kind of thirst followed. I was like, ooh, cute girl with dyed hair, bet, and I followed her. And you know, the way she presented herself on Twitter always made her seem like she was a nice person, I guess you could say. She would always be for people speaking out about their experiences with sexual assault and all that. She seemed like an actually decent human being at the very least, but it kind of shows how two-faced influencers, I guess you can say, can be. And man, I understand why they hate that word. I'm not even an influencer. I have like 20 subs on this channel, yet I understand why it feels so wrong to be called that. But she and I don't know how to say the guy's name, but there is a 14-year-old kid that she made moves towards, I guess you can say, because she apparently, and like the thing is that there's even video of her being all over him. And the thing is with a lot of these, in my opinion, these allegations, is that once these people vanish, they did it. They totally did it. But her and this 14-year-old, excuse me, they sort of had like a relationship going on where essentially she was dating him. Now, he never had sex. It only went as far as oral, which I guess you can count as sex, but you know what I mean by that. But she did that, and the dude at the time, he knew not to talk about it, but she would constantly remind him, she would gaslight him, and I can only imagine how bad that can feel to be, because if you look at her and how she's all over him, you just imagine how like weird that is for someone to treat you like a child, but also to still sort of have that relationship with you that they had. I can understand how that would fuck someone up. And I don't get how people like LTG, or even just other guys, but LTG was the main one, where they could be like, what do you mean? The dude wanted that. He knew what he was doing and all that. And like, yeah, of course he did. If I was 14, I would have been like, hell yeah, I'm down for that. But you don't understand that has repercussions down the road. Like, sure, LTG, I guess you can say he was fine, because LTG had the same thing happen to him when he was a child, and he said like, it didn't hurt me, all it did was activate my sex card early and all that. And you know what, while he is a colossal bitch who thinks he's winning all the time, all day, every day, at least he, I guess you can say, came out quote unquote fine. He didn't, do anything, because the thing is that when you do that to a child, I feel like, when a woman does that to a child, I feel like she is creating a possible sex offender or pedophile. I think they're both in the same boat, I'm not sure, but by doing that, you're creating another pedophile almost. Not saying that everyone does become that, but I'm saying like, because men don't speak out generally, and when you do that, I feel like you're creating this vision, I guess you can say, in their head that this is an okay thing to do, even with a woman, or well, a little girl. And I feel like a lot of these dudes don't think about the fact that while they think it's just activating their sex card early, what if they had a daughter and suddenly some girl were to go, or not girl, I'm sorry, what if they had a daughter and some dude were to go and, have sex with them? Wouldn't you be irritated or pissed? Or no, not even irritated, just simply pissed. Wouldn't you be upset with that guy? Of course you would, but since it's a dude, you would be proud of that. If it was your son, you'd be proud of him having that. But I feel like, fucking Christ, my phone. Hold on a second. I'm sorry about that. I should have muted that. But I feel like doing that with children really fucks them up. And I feel like it creates more pedophiles in the world. Because if I bet even say your son did that and then he did that to another little girl, you would still invalidate what happened to him. Like, men needs to think more about this and how it affects men in general when a woman sexually assaults them, because it is damaging, and people like to invalidate that by saying that we enjoy it or something like that. And man, if some chick I wasn't into, and I'm saying this as if, like, say we're the same age and I was sexually assaulted by some chick, I would not be happy with that personally, because I personally feel like I have to be romantically interested in a person at the very least, or at least somewhat be attracted to them. If it's someone who just forced themselves onto me, I wouldn't be happy with that. And with the kid, they would be happy with it at first until they realized that, wow, that relationship was really fucked. Wow, this was so bad. Because something that a lot of people don't realize is that their relationships, and not all of them, I should word this better. Something a lot of people don't realize is that if a relationship is toxic, they don't realize it until they get out of it. They don't realize how horrible it is until it's over. And, that's a horrible thing to go through. Even though I haven't experienced that because I haven't had a quote-unquote toxic relationship, I knew someone who was in one, and they don't realize how bad that their relationship is. And it's a difficult thing to deal with even as a friend to watch, and I don't really associate with the person anymore because of that. But yeah, I don't know, man, it's just craziness. Please validate men who get sexually assaulted, especially as a child. Let them speak out. Understand what they're going through. Don't just shove it to the side and be like, oh, he enjoyed it or something like that, because you're just being a dickhead. A fucking colossal dickhead, honestly. Was there more? Well, there's plenty. There is another one, like Relax, where, well, he apparently raped his girlfriend, or his ex-girlfriend. And I knew about this for a while because I've been kind of following it. The issue is that got swept under the rug for a very long time. No one talked about it nor really knew about it until all this stuff was happening, which I feel like is the best time and you know what? I want everyone to speak, not just in the FGC. And I know I'm derailing when I'm talking about this, but what people don't realize is that even though the FGC is the one under fire right now for all these events that happened, there's probably more that has happened. Or not more, but there has been stuff that has happened in fighting game tournament. It's not, oh god. I'm sorry. Again, talking without, I'm not gonna cut this up much, but in FPS, I said FGC on accident because I'm used to saying that, but FPS games, all those tournaments, there's probably stuff that happened in that. Fortnite tournaments, oh god, there's a lot of kids there. Who knows what could have happened in that. There's League. Imagine League. Think about that. A lot has possibly happened in that, I feel. And Overwatch. Oh wait, that's FPS. I guess that's in the FPS category, but still, all these tournaments for games, the gaming community as a whole needs to speak up. They need to talk about this. And for people, a big example of something I want to talk about is with Zero. Is that when people spoke out against him, I guess people were just on the edge because they've watched their heroes, I guess you could say, back to back get canceled. And I guess Zero was like the only one they had left. And that's just awful to hear about, that, it's probably that someone you looked up to got or did something horrible. But the issue is that people weren't accepting it. Instead, they were invalidating the victims, telling them that they needed proof or something of that sort, which you shouldn't do, in my opinion. Because the thing is that while proof is important, yes, sometimes the story is all what someone has. Not everyone has proof of what happened, especially something that happened that they probably say the person was smart enough not to have any messages or anything to really have evidence, so the person wouldn't have evidence against them. Their story is the only thing they have. And the issue is that people will be like, then why don't you go to the police or something? That the fact is that the police don't help. The people, and I'm not a part of the whole ACAB group or whatever. I'm not a part of that. I don't, because I feel like that's the same as saying all men are bad or all men are trash, I guess you can say, or trashing on a whole entire group. And I feel like it's a bad thing to do, but I also get where they mean by like the job in itself, I guess, is bad, because I do feel like it needs a reform. But this is off topic. I'm talking about sexual assault here, not the cops thing. I'm not even trying to really speak out about that, because I just, that was pretty much how I feel about it. But shit, I forgot what I was even talking about. You see the issue here with me doing this without a script? Please speak out is one thing I said. God, man, these kind of talk videos are difficult to do. I'm not cutting this out again, but oh yes. So the police, as I was saying, they don't help much. They want evidence and all this, even though they don't realize that not everyone has evidence to their assault. That not everyone, they think that because police are dickheads. I'm gonna say this now though, not all of them, but some of them want to be all in your head and stuff and be like, oh, you wanted that to happen, or why did you drink, or this and that. And it's like, shut up. If someone's story actually did happen, then you doing that to them is a horrible thing for you to do, because that must be hurtful to say that to someone who experienced trauma. So when the internet is all that someone has for someone to listen to them about their story, if you don't believe it, or you feel like needs to be proof, at least, and I feel like this maybe is a dickhead thing to say, but at least humor them, at least like make them feel like you're listening to them. Don't just shut them down immediately, because that's at least the nicest possible thing you can do, is to hear them out. Don't don't close them off, I guess you can say, or shut them down. At least hear them out, because even though they are talking about something without proof, I guess you can say, or evidence, you should at least because it should be common sense to take everything with a grain of salt, because you don't know if they're lying or not. But if they aren't, then you shutting them down like that is hurtful. So please at least consider that before you ask for proof. Or if you're gonna ask for it, be like, I'm sorry that, I think the best way to say, like, do you have proof though, is to probably say, like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Is there any way I can help? Do you have any sort of evidence of some sort that could help us take this person down? I feel like that's the best possible way to say, hey, I want to, or to say, hey, I want to be sure that this isn't, a lie. Because there has been lies that came out of the Me Too stuff. Hell, you can look at Johnny Depp, who had his career essentially just ruined, ran into the mud by someone who lied and actually abused him. So hear people out, take it with a grain of salt. If you want evidence, don't be a dickhead about it. Don't be like, alright, I don't believe you, where's your proof? Say something in a kindful way that leads into asking for evidence without sounding like a jackass, at the very least. But yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say. Actually, no, I want to add something here for primarily men, that please think before you do something, especially if it's with a woman, because one thing I get is that some women are a little bit more freaky than others. Some of them are a little bit more down for certain things you talk about or say or do, but that doesn't excuse it. And that you should be very careful about what you say and do around someone, and to always use your brain. Because if you're confused about getting your dick out, as a podcast I listened to said, then you probably shouldn't whip your dick out. Simple as that. Because while you think that you maybe, and here's a hard one for some people, is that sometimes the person thinks that there was consent when in reality it wasn't. Always make sure there's consent with what you're doing. Always ask first. I know, like, before you have sex, you know, that's could be somewhat of a turn off, I guess, for you to like consent and like ask first, but for some people that's even better for them. They would really enjoy that. So please ask for consent first. Think about it. If something feels off to you, don't do it. And yeah, overall, besides saying be nice to people, overall, don't idolize these influencers. Not to say every one of them is bad, but especially with what's coming out of this community, you never know. You never know how this person is behind the scenes or what they have done in their life. You never know what I've done, someone else has done. You know, hell, you don't even know what your friends has possibly done before. So don't idolize these people. Listen to them, or not, listen to the victims if they have a story, and try to gather information to have your own opinion on it, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's it from what I've had to talk about. That was a 20-minute video. That was longer than what it needed to be. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all soon. Sayonara.